Um, I know it's not my usual time to go live, but I had some time and I figured I'd come say hello. Hey, nice to see you if you're still here. Thanks for being here. So this is going to be pretty casual. We had some really good videos about this topic, linking things up and connecting some dots. So we're going to do that again because we have some new people here. It's a different channel and it's all relative to what's going on now in current events. And we should talk about it because I know a lot of us have had similar experiences over the last several years. Um, and things that, like near-death experiences, NDEs, um, memories that might be different. I refer to that as timelines. I define the Mandela effect differently than most people. And as far as the Bible being changed, I didn't start reading it myself until 2017. But I have a couple really old Bibles, and those are what I refer to. You can't trust anything digital because it can be altered and changed. And sadly, our youth, the younger generations, don't understand that. We're at a point now, we're at this precipice where, and this was made very clear to me. I was working again. I thought that maybe I was going to, just have a second chance and maybe things would work this time. But as usual, it was paperwork again. They wanted me to sign my name off because my drawer was short twice, and both times the same person was there. Both times I was not allowed to count it by hand. They use a weight, which there could have been a 5 stuck with the ones. I don't know because I didn't get to count it myself. This place, the system, the matrix is pretty serious about its paperwork. I had issues with that at a nursing job. They wanted me to sign off on residents that I did not have time to see. And anyone, when state came and examined our books, they would have been able to see that. And I would have gotten my certification taken away. The nurses and the doctors and the facility wouldn't have been in trouble. It would have been me. So you have to be really careful, I think, in this realm when you sign your name off to things, especially with things like power of attorney. Now, let me get the disclaimers out of the way. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not a legal professional. For such advice, you should seek the guidance of your chosen expert. Everything shared here is per the Fair Use Act of 1976 for the purposes of education and/or entertainment and/or criticism. All of this information is available publicly through Google, their own platform. So let's get to it. Now, I have a little list here. I did make a couple notes real quick because once again, I found another rabbit hole, but they all lead to the same place. They all lead to something we're going to research ourselves and learn about. Now, I took my allergy medicine a little bit ago, so I don't know how long this video will be, but hopefully it'll get a good start and the people who are new here will kind of see how these events have played out and may have possibly affected each other throughout the last 5 years from like 2017 till now. But also we are going to take a quick look at like 2011 when the LHC at CERN was turned on. I believe that's the date. If I mess that up, please forgive me. We're going to take a quick look at that now. First, let's see, should we go back for, oh my gosh, there's the new doggy. She barks at my son every time he goes by. I gotta tell you guys about her. I apologize, I'm not a YouTuber who has a talent agent. I don't have bells and whistles. It's just me here doing research because I have the time and not everybody else does. But again, let's be very careful and diligent when researching digital materials because they can be changed, altered, scrubbed from the internet. And you're going to see that when we look at a post from 5 years ago about the Malaysian flight. A lot of information about that has been scrubbed and deleted. So I want you guys to be able to see that in real time and know that the theories I have are built out of bits of research. I'm not trying to match events up with my own theory. I'm building a theory based on the bits of information that I recall. So first, there's an eclipse coming tomorrow, another one. I know my dogs have been acting a little strange. I like to always give a personal testimony at the beginning of the video, and then we examine things from like a spiritual outlook and how they're manifesting in our reality here. And that matches scripture. That's manifesting and again, a lot of us are doing the same things. We're just using different expressions and words, almost like artists. We are expressing our faith in different ways. But it's ask and you shall receive, right? If you believe it, then you can create it. That's the theory, anyways. Okay. So we're also going to see that. We're going to see that yet again, there is another television show that played out in alleged real life, or at least on our mainstream media. Now, I have a thought nagging me in the back of my mind, and it's really bothering me, guys. I know we don't have to know everything. I know we're not going to have all the answers, but we do deserve some of them. And I'm really starting to wonder if AI hasn't been in charge of like our society since we were born, like our whole lives. Um, and that's a staggering thought, to think that you've been lied to your whole life and everything that you thought you knew is a facade, and a lot of us talk about that and the experiences that we've had. And you also see in the last few years a lot of families busting up, relationships splitting. A lot of people, in my experience, are now the opposite of what they were prior to 2019. Even their pronoun preference, and I'm being delicate with the words I use, has changed. They've went from being married to suddenly divorced and in the rainbow community. That's what I'm seeing locally. So I know something is happening, and it seems to be happening on a massive scale. Now, do these people realize what they're doing or how they're being led? I don't know, but I do know that targeted individuals, some of us, those of us who are either targeted spiritually by lower level energies because they are attracted to things that shine. I'll use a phrase there from The Shining. They are attracted to people and beings that shine. They can't help themselves, these lower level sentient beings. And the question is do we coexist with it, or do we lance it out like a cancer, spiritually speaking, of course. So I hope that makes sense. Thanks for being here, by the way. Hopefully this video will go nicely and I can leave it up. Okay, so we know that there's an eclipse coming tomorrow and behaviors can change. But real quick, I want to do a quick timeline. Now, think back. Before the eclipse in 2017, NASA did a balloon release. It was a student experiment or study research thing that they did out of a university. Now, I'm trying to recall it, but we're going to look it up and see if it's still here. I have a video on it. It should still be up either on the other channel or farther back on this one. They released a bunch of balloons with a bacteria in it. Now, I have a theory, so let's check this out first because I want to. I'm not just making stuff up, so let's check it out. Okay. And there was a lot going on this year around the eclipse. So we're gonna. I wish I'm gonna do a timeline too. Maybe I can do a graphic and post it up. I used to do them for college, so it can't be that hard to edit. I haven't really wanted to mess with it because there's so much of my time goes to researching little bits of information. And real soon we're going to do a face-to-face because I have some books that I want to share how similar the prophecies are from different faith systems, from the Essenes and the Gnostics and the Christians and Judaism, um, and even the Hopi prophecy, they are all very much alike and very similar. So we're going to look at that as well in a later video. Now, let's see. May 7th, 2017. Well, there it is, right there. This is the one that matters. Now, remember this when we go ahead with the video and move ahead. Why NASA is sending bacteria into the sky on balloons during the eclipse. It has to do with life on Mars. Now, again, as I've said ad nauseum, I'm probably exhaust people with it. A lot of what is said in mainstream media is messages from these people who are higher up in society to each other. They encode messages in the news stories. My question is, are the movies and the scripts that people write, are they manifesting in real life naturally? Is the media actually showing us what's happening? Or are they just feeding the media, the AI, whatever runs this stuff? Are they just feeding it into the system as like distractions? Or I don't know. It's bizarre, though, how many movies seem to be entering real life. Just like the East Palestine train wreck was part of a script in a Netflix movie that was released and created right before that actually happened. So yeah, things are weird, and I don't know. It's almost like dealing with a bunch of children. It's like they're just putting out all this fake news and they're copying it from Hollywood scripts, right? I don't know if it has to do with the fake signs and wonders, making it look like any book can come to life. So to like discredit the Bible or something. Like, I don't know, but things are weird. So anyways, they sent bacteria into the sky on balloons during the eclipse, okay? Let's see. And they tell you down here, NASA wants to know whether they will survive on Mars. Now, what does that have to do with releasing them here? I don't know. But they did this in Montana, okay? Now, you're going to see how all these things fit together, just like the other topic we're doing, the spiritual end of this, the psychology, the parapsychology, and the psychotomy to all this, how it all matches up. And it just, the dots are easier to connect. So if NASA released this bacteria, okay, during the eclipse, why would they do it during the eclipse? Well, because you have a high density population that's going to be predictably outdoors, gathered in the same spaces. So imagine if you release these balloons on this day where a lot of people are definitely going to be out of doors. They're going to be outside. And then you release this up into the sky over their heads. What do you suppose that might do? Well, they don't know. That's what they want to find out, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind. All right. So this was 2017. And then you have the eclipse. When was that? Was that before? Okay, so in May, see, it was the solar eclipse. So why did, hold please, because they said they did this in May. And yes, there's more than one eclipse. Like, we're having one tomorrow. There's another one in 2024, but there's one tomorrow, and there's also one, a solar one and a lunar one this month. And I don't recall there being this many eclipses when I was a child. Maybe there were. I'm not one of them people who goes outside during them. I just never have. I don't know why. Okay, so this was, it says August 15th. Why did the other one say May? Wanaka Airport. Where's that? New Zealand after a disastrous attempt. Oh my gosh. I wonder if it worked. It didn't work the first time. That's crazy. Okay. So NASA sends this up. During the eclipse, you have all this stuff basically above people, right? And drifting around in the atmosphere, right? You have this bacteria, whatever kind of bacteria it is. All right. So now I want to show you something else. First, we have the NASA balloon release and the eclipse, right? And then we have CV started in China, and then you had the lockdown start worldwide, like one after another after another. I found this post. Again, this stuff takes time to find, the digging and stuff. And I have had kind of like a really bad month or two. So I will post Sammy's link if anyone wants to help out, because now I got this bike that I'm paying off and no job suddenly again. So, and I had such a good resume. Like they literally want to ruin people who they think are not compliant. You know, people who aren't just order takers. And like I said, so persecution, when it's written about, it's not happening just to one group, although it can appear that way. It's happening to people who stand firm on truth and who just refuse to call the sky, yellow when they know it's blue. And it's very elementary. It's very simplistic. But again, in this world, in this system, your name and signing things off and documentation, that stuff has a spiritual binding to it. It will bind you to you. Signing your name is your agreement, right? You're agreeing to the terms and conditions, just like with all these apps, which we're going to look at that too. But anyways, when you think of the missing flight, okay, Malaysian flight, a lot of this information did not come out until years later. So this is a condensed post from 3 years ago. You can see that right there. I have it open right now to see it for anyone who needs caught up. But it goes to a weird place. This ended up going someplace that it did not take me the last time. So this is why you got to check into old stories, because they'll be updated by the original authors and whatnot, or editors. But, they won't tell everybody, oh, there's an update on this, that, or the other, especially if it's not, American news. And people who travel a lot, they've told me that America receives the most propaganda of anybody, and I totally believe that. We're in a war right now, but it's all propaganda, it's all wars, it's all ideology right now. And it's sad because that's so superficial. Like, it's so superficial. I was hoping in my generation and my children's generation, I would be able to see people who are different working in harmony, those differences working for each other and helping each other, instead of playing this tug of war that we always do. We don't have to agree on everything. So, the missing flight. Now you're going to say, what does this have to do with the eclipses and all this, that, and the other? Well, again, a lot of information came out after the fact. And years after this flight went missing, a few people, but one person in particular went viral for a voicemail that he got. And he was just a random person, allegedly. He got this voicemail and they thought it was from someone on the Malaysian flight. But they use like NATO code. So let's read this real quick. It gives you a condensed version of the events that took place and what was happening up to this date. So on March 13th, 2018, a Twitter user who went by the name Straightaway, or Ty, posted a thread about a creepy voicemail he received regarding the missing Malaysia Airlines flight. The thread went viral, and many more people came out claiming to have received the same one. Yeah, and there was a bunch of posts about it. I do have a couple of screenshots. Shoot, I don't know if I pulled them up though. But yeah, some of them though, a lot of these links, if you click on them, they're dead links, or there are threads with bits of conversation missing. You can tell that people were talking about certain things and they've just been removed. And you can see that, which is cool. So this prompted people all over the internet to get involved and help solve the mystery. However, there was never a real conclusion, which we're still talking about it today. And after receiving an overwhelming amount of publicity and even death, true, the only person that covered this was Shane Dawson back in the day when he was first starting out and I was younger, and he was kind of in my I don't know, suggestions, and I'd watched it. He's the only one who covered this, and the kid said, yeah, his grandma was scared for him, and so he deactivated his account. He was just I guess a high school kid or whatever. So many people claim the whole thing was an elaborate hoax or even an alternate reality game, an ARG, but I'm not satisfied with those answers. I'm not either. He seemed very genuine. A lot of people today, I don't know if it's because we always have cameras in our faces, but a lot of people seem genuinely like they are acting all the time now, and it's very obvious. It's like the masks have never really came off, and it's getting worse instead of getting better. The less we socialize with each other, the more these fake personas kind of take over for people. And I know this because I did this. I was on social media like a lot, and when I first was removed from work, and it was a problem for me. So now I try to use my time wisely, and then I try to research things that we want to know about, because somebody has to be asking questions. There's no real journalism happening anymore. There's no investigative journalism, and I know we cover topics that are a bit woo, but allegedly, they told us, they released this like it was real and it was a real event playing out. I'll get to that in 1 second. So, Ty's thread and the bizarre disappearance of MH370 still linger in the back of my mind to this day. Now, here's the voicemail. For those who are unaware, MH370 was an international flight that disappeared on March 8th, 2014. So, this goes on for years, okay? And he didn't receive that voicemail. Yeah, 4 years later. The voicemail Ty received 4 years later was an SOS message thought to be recorded on the missing plane's black box. That's not how a black box operates, though. Some said solar flares happening around that time may have allowed the message to be picked up by cell phones. Solar flares cause electromagnetic pulses in the atmosphere, so with increased EMF activity, signals would have been amplified and had a farther range. I don't know about that. I don't know that I'm satisfied with that. The problem I'm having with it is the time, the 4-year gap, which is why we're gonna look at CERN after this, and when that was turned on. So let's just keep looking at this. We can click on those links too if you'd like. I can leave the main link here to this thread in the description for you guys if you want. So let's see. The voicemail was a recording of a robotic voice speaking in military code. After Twitter investigators deciphered it, they discovered a chilling warning about aliens. We'll get to that in a second, followed by a string of numbers that turned out to be coordinates close to the place MH370 vanished from radar. Hold, please. That was never confirmed, that that's what the numbers were. We'll get to that in a second. Some people say that the numbers were the date of a rapture. I have a screenshot. I don't think I have it pulled up, though. I have a screenshot of a couple of posts from this time frame. Now let's see. Besides the voicemail, there are many more oddities surrounding this event, and there seems to be a synchronistic pattern hiding in plain sight. Flight 370, a Boeing 777, left on the 7th day of the 3rd month, and Malaysia Airlines is said to fly nearly 37,000 passengers daily. Okay, so do you see the gematria kind of falling into place there, like an algorithm almost? You can see it, right? Now it says here there was a massive solar storm headed to Earth March 2018. No massive solar flare. And let's see. Like I said, a lot of these links. There we go. Now, I think, yeah, you can listen to it. On March 13th, Ty posted a recording of a creepy voicemail message he received on his mobile phone and asked for help translating it. Since then, it had received more than 7 million views and hashed a dozen conspiracy theories, earning Ty more than 40,000 extra followers and forcing him to temporarily deactivate his account. He was getting death threats and change his handle. And wow. I don't know what that has to do with this, but okay. The bizarre voicemail features a robotic voice droning out an automated message entirely in NATO phonetic alphabet. Deciphered, it reads, here's a couple screenshots. S, which is probably SOS. It's like on a loop, right? SOS, danger, SOS. It is dire for you to evacuate. Now remember, he got this on his voicemail. So who are they telling to evacuate from where? Be cautious. They are not human. Now, then it gives a number, SOS, danger, SOS. He deleted the voicemail. And there he is. He's like, I'm throwing my phone away. And this happened. What is that? Oh, right there. He received a message. And the post you just shared about the recording on your phone. A bunch of people. He wasn't the only one that received the voicemail. There were several other people. But he was the one who went viral for it or whatever. And they all got threats pretty openly on the internet telling them to shut things down, to not talk about this anymore. And like I said, some of the click on them, they don't take you anywhere. Okay, now here's where it gets even weirder, which is kind of how I feel about Manifest right now. It's almost like some of that show. I don't know. It's very weird right now. The television show Lost seemed to predict the event as well. Okay, so did Lost predict the event? Or is someone just shoving, like I said, these scripts into some AI media thing and it didn't even really happen? Like, you know what I mean? It's weird. The television show Lost seemed to predict the event as well, 10 years before it happened. So, in the show, a Boeing 777 deviates from its path, turns around, and disappears somewhere off the coast of Australia. That's exactly what MH370 did. The show also seemed to predict who would be on the plane. In Lost, and this is weird. This is the first time I've heard this bit of information. We've looked into this several times just to keep updated. So in Lost, some of the passengers included an actor and two men who used fake passports. Now, how they found that out or what that, I don't know. I'm really curious about the passengers, though, because there's one other theory that is possible. And I was watching a movie the other day, and in it, the people that were on the missing plane, the plane that went missing, had been decided that they would be hidden or kept safe on Doomsday. They knew that something big was coming, and they'd pick certain people from society to, continue on, but they didn't tell them because they didn't want to create a panic. That's one possibility, although nothing has happened yet that I'm aware of. If they were high-profile individuals, I mean, anything is possible as far as that goes. So this tells you the mystery of the fake passport holders. I don't know if that is still there. I never went to look at that. Mystery fake passport holders on the flight MH370 were Iranian. And so it goes on and on about that. Now, the actor was Joo Koon, Jet Li's body double, and fake identities were used by two Iranian men seeking asylum in Europe. Oddly enough, in Lost, a television show, a psychic predicts the plane crash. MH370's disappearance also seemed to be predicted by the Nigerian prophet T.B. Joshua. I'm not sure who that is, never heard of that person, but apparently they're a prophet. In 2013, TB Joshua warned that an aircraft carrying over 200 passengers from an Asian nation would have some serious problems. MH370 had 227 passengers on board. Now, 22 comes up a lot lately for me. Um, and there was like this joke when I was working. Um, the register I was on was always like you would number the till and it was always 21 until like I told you I worked with that dude and oh you're 13. Oh that's great. Thanks for that's their advertising, right? Like hey, this is, that's who they are. And I don't even know if they realize they're doing it's so bizarre the behaviors I'm seeing as well. Okay, so there's that person's prophecy. Another strange synchronicity is Lost was first aired on December 22nd, 2004. Now this gets weird too. Now 22, like I said, everybody like where I work, they were like, "Oh, I get to be 22. We love 22." Da 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 da. And I don't want to give too much away, but I've told the story of how when this all began, a loved one of mine told me that his friend had went to a local church and they told his mother that he was the Antichrist. Now, my loved one has since told me that, they were joking. They thought it'd be funny to say that to me and pull my leg. But that person, 22, is in their house number. And it's a real nice person, too. So I hate to hear things like that. But again, when you're getting gaslit all the time, who knows why they tell you the stories they tell you sometimes. Okay, so more gematria. September 22nd would turn out to be a big day for CERN, exactly 7 years later. If you're unaware, CERN is a facility that smashes atoms together to create mini black holes and look for other dimensions, or create them, basically. They're trying to recreate the Big Bang, is what I gather, and trying to capture light rays of light at very specific frequencies, which is what I relate to higher angelic beings, possibly. On September 22nd, 2011, CERN succeeded in sending particles faster than the speed of light, which is interesting considering the Mayan prophecy about 2012. And things have been wild since then. Like, I don't know. I didn't notice it at first right away, but 2016 things started getting weird. 2017, like things just started going sideways. So physicists hypothesized that going faster than light speed could actually result. Now here's where a couple of my theories come together. I apologize, Sammy is snoring. Physicists hypothesized that going faster than the speed of light could actually result in time travel, which makes sense if you think about it. And all the sci-fi shows from when I was a kid, like Sliders, that's basically what they're doing, okay? However, the claim was supposedly debunked sometime later, but this is still up for debate. And let me just pose this. When our military is going to do something, Americans have gotten very kind of spoiled with knowing everything and having all the information and having it now, 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 now. That's not always what's best, though, for safety reasons. So we should be very careful about the information that, we demand even. Maybe just understand that we have to be more tactful and we have to dig sometimes. They're not going to just give us everything because that would also be giving it to our enemies, right? Like, so I mean, I see the strategic standpoint of it, but I'm a woman, I'm a mother, and I'm kind of like anti-war, so I don't know, people would probably call me a hippie, but I'm a little young to be a hippie. So we can look at that, but this is what's weird because now the problem is that people lie. Some people like attention. Some people are on the internet all the time. They don't have, a life really in reality. But they don't even study or anything, right? And sometimes people make up stories. But allegedly, there are a lot of people who are having different memories of different events in different sequences and different results, things resulting, cause and effect wise. And I've told you guys that like my cause and effect has been backwards for a long time now. And so I wonder if they actually were able to time travel, do you think they would tell the public? I don't. That would be like a national security risk. From a military strategic standpoint, that's something that I would not want anyone else to know. Anyone, but a select few. Especially after what allegedly happened during the Philadelphia experiment. Um, I think they've learned to be more quiet about things and keep them under wraps. So then this person goes on to say, and I like this summation because this person includes links that you can follow along yourself and kind of get a bigger grasp on what's going on here. Now, I want to go into that rabbit hole I found in just a moment. And this person goes on to say, but what I find most strange is the fact that the man who made this discovery was forced to resign. Conspiracy theorists claim CERN did in fact achieve time travel and cause the past to change. This is where the Mandela effect comes in, a phenomenon known as the Mandela effect. Now, it's called that because a lot of people remember Mandela dying, but he was just released from prison. Was it 2011 when all this started? I think. I'm going to have to look that up. But that's why they call it the Mandela effect, because he, I mean, in essence, came back from the dead. But we've seen that with people on the screen, like Betty White. How many times have they said that woman has passed away? That's what I don't know if, like, our media is like just run by AI and it's glitching out, or if these things are actually happening. So this is why we have to be open and honest and share our real life experiences. You know, can you touch it? Can you see it? Can you feel it? If not, can you see the proof that it's there, even though you can't see it? Like the wind, you can't see wind, but you see the results of the wind, right? We have to approach some of this as little scientists. So conspiracy theorists claim CERN, in fact, did achieve time travel. They say this historical event constantly switches back and forth between having happened on the 22nd or the 23rd. Supposedly every year around this time, new inconsistencies in history pop up. Now, what's very funny about that too is September. We know this is a big month for Gematria, for the alleged elites. There are a lot of occultic days in the harvest season in the fall, and so that's just something to be aware of. And no, I don't want to be fearmonger either, because there is a middle ground here that we can walk, because we have me, and that is hatred is tearing our society apart, but so is distrust, lack of trust. Nobody trusts anyone anymore. I can't say that I do, and we haven't really tried to change that. Um, it's my opinion we need to start building relationships again with each other and making bridges, or being bridges for people, standing in the gap for others when maybe they're having a hard time with this quote unquote new normal, things like that. Just really remembering how to be there for each other, and just that compassion and empathy. I think we've gotten very apathetic as a society. And I'm not lecturing you, because I'm a part of this too, right? It's a we problem, not a me problem. So here's where it gets weird again. Ironically, the plot of Lost is centered around a time travel experiment called the Dharma Initiative. In the Lost experience, it's revealed that the goal of the experiment was for people to alter the timeline and push back doomsday. And I will say, once again, I'm seeing old news being recycled, or at least news that I've seen before, um, regarding the wars that are happening right now and the rumors of wars. I don't want to say too much, because I know people will run with it, but I'd swear this all happened already. Uh, just like 5 years ago, this all was kind of started up, and there were things going on in Damascus, because that's a big prophecy that everybody's kind of watching and holding their breath to see if it happens. We'll get into that in the prophecy video. We're going to do a whole video with the books that I have on hand, and just go through the different prophecies of these different peoples, because they're so similar. And they all say, the Hopi come out and say that there are two paths we can walk at this point, and it's either technology or we go back to the old ways. And everyone that goes back to the old ways will be okay, will be protected, they will have wisdom, their skills can't be taken away from them. But everyone that goes down the technological way, clay cannot cleave to iron, and we made the machines, right? The machines didn't make us, but they are kind of ruling over people at this point. I saw it myself when I was working, and I see it all every day, if I go shopping. Okay, so they're saying they do this to push back doomsday. Now, this is how close they look alike to CERN. CERN, this LHC looks like a lot of things. There's a movie on Hulu I also watched about a guy who time traveled, and it was in a machine like this, started spinning, and it created a portal. And they tracked him through time with a chip that they had put in his tooth. Yeah, so again, all these topics touched on. Now, you can kind of see where this is going, but I want to show you something else too, because I don't know how much time I have. I don't remember. Hold, please. Let me see. I don't want to lose this page. Okay. Now, this is a person who was saying it was all a hoax, but they've since been like shot down. Now, there's a girl, a user on, I thought it was this page, that posted a link because she punched in the numbers, right? Instead of, hold please. Hold please. I'm still here. I wanted to show you guys this. All right, so we'll go back this way. There was a girl who punched in the numbers, okay, the code. And this is where it took her. This is where it gets messed up because in one of the recent live stream videos, I read part of a book. We're going to get into hypnotism. It had nothing to do with genes or editing or DNA, nothing to do with that. But later, after the video, when I researched the author of the book, because he did have a PhD and an MD, he seemed like a credible source. But then it gets into all this parapsychology stuff. Not only is he does he use regression hypnosis on clients, but he is also a professor, I think, at Harvard regarding gene editing and stuff. So it gets really deep. All of these people, all of these, what do I want to say here? Stop it, Sammy. I'm sorry. He's distracting me. We've seen a lot of the rabbit holes of current events and stuff go to this route, okay? A lot of them pop up. Either we end up with the neural implants and seeing those, or the CRISPRs. Now take a look at this. I don't know what kind of credentials you need to use this, but this was a link posted in Reddit, which I was just trying to show you, where the girl says instead of using it NATO code, or instead of using it as a location, using those numbers for that, she just punched it in, and it's actually a patent number for watch. This is crazy. I mean, it's just bizarre. Like, how does the Malaysian flight end up taking us to the topic of current events regarding injectables? I'm trying to say that very delicately here. Is anyone even here? Yay, there's people here. Thanks for being here. Okay, so what this is basically, this is called AdGene, okay? There are catalogs, educational tools, a help center, all the usuals. But somehow, you can buy these little guys. They're called plasmids. The item is a plasmid. The catalog number 41818. Hold please. That number, as I will show later in the video, or I will make it the thumbnail if I don't go and get it now. There was belief that that was a rapture date because they talk about evacuating, and then there is this string of numbers. Some people thought it was a location. Some people thought it was the date of the next rapture. And the girl who posted it said she thought there was something about there being 3 raptures, and that was the date of one of them. But again, this other person punched this in to Google, and this is where it took her. Catalog number, it's basically like a patent number for this plasmid. Description of this plasmid is standard format. Plasmid sent in bacteria as agar stab. Oh, that's so the delivery system, as far as my basic understanding goes, we are researching together. Bacteria is the delivery system, but usually the RNA is the delivery system. So let's look a little closer. Okay, so the purpose of plasmid number 41818, or nicknamed gRNA AAVSI-T2. Okay, so that's the number of this plasmid. The purpose of this plasmid, it expresses a guide RNA to target human AAVS1, target sequence 4, genome engineering. I mean, you got to be kidding me. How did the Malaysian flight lead to this? But every, like, almost every current event somewhere, there's a side path that takes you to healthcare. And again, I'm not a doctor. Seek your chosen professional for such advice or guidance. This is not medical advice in any way, shape, or form. We are researching together because I am not a scientist, and I try to help other people with my gift in words and understanding old books and things of that nature. This stuff, I got to learn with you guys because I'm like way in over my head here. So it gets to telling you how this is made. Now, the vector backbone, it says basically it's a delivery system. The manufacturer, the vector type, it's a mammalian expression. And what does that say? What does that say, guys? CRISPR. If you don't know what CRISPR is, it's basically it's like everything. Like they could use that to house everything. It would be the chip inside you that held, your social credit score, your medical history, all that stuff, your debt, right? But anyway, that's not all it's for. Like you can with CRISPR, allegedly, from my basic understanding, it can turn things on or off in somebody's specific DNA. However, they cannot do this for specific people without first having those people's DNA. Remember how I told you how people were kind of like that 1 week, that's all I heard about was DNA, DNA, DNA. I should get a DNA test. And how the Mormons, that's their big thing too, is they like they house everybody's DNA and stuff. And their genealogy, which, I mean, it's good. Somebody should do it. They're awesome record keepers for sure. But again, this all gets very convoluted. It seems like there would be a huge conflict of interest here. Basically, what CRISPR can do is warfare too, as far as I understand it, biological warfare, because you can turn somebody's gene for like say they have a predisposition to cancer. Allegedly, you can turn that switch on and activate something that is dormant. But you have to have that person's DNA to even do that for them, to manufacture a specific injectable for that person. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. We are studying together. But it's wild that information from the Malaysian flight took us to this place. I consistently and constantly say we are being led someplace, and I think God can, the creator, the maker, the architect, can do anything, right? Nothing is impossible. So, are we being led via technology? I would say in a point, in some aspect, yes, we are. We keep being led to this same spot, and this is going to be a huge thing in human history. Now, hold please, because I'm going to give you another date. Anyone that's taking notes, because again, this is all the foundation, the backbone for the main eclipse videos, okay? So first we had NASA releasing the balloons with the bacteria on a day when they know everybody's going to be outside, right? A high population. And that was 2017. And then you see people, and I wonder where the jet stream goes. If those balloons were let go in Montana, if anyone wants to look it up, where would that wind carry? Would the jet stream carry it across the ocean? Would that be... Montana's kind of right in the center of things, though. But it's ironic that they did that in 2017, and then you have 2019 when CV started, and they renamed it. It started as Corona, and they changed the name of it. So that could mean many things as well. So if you add all of this stuff together, CERN being turned on and off, them trying to basically recreate the Big Bang, bacteria being released in the atmosphere by NASA. And I got one more bit for you. Let's look this up. I'll show you how good my memory can be when nobody messes with it. This happened right before CV. And if they're telling them not to do this, I want to know why. And this is bizarre because they released it and everybody could publicly see it. Now, again, if you're taking notes, this is a good one to write down. I should add it to my little paper here because we're going to do a bigger video on this. In an internal memo, but they released it through the New York Times. Why did they do that? I'm telling you guys, this is them telling us, well, we told you, we tried to tell you, but it's also maybe somebody trying to help us, because it really seems like our way of life here in America is under great threat, and it feels like things kind of fell apart, and maybe we were covertly taken over a while ago, but that's a whole nother topic in video. So in an internal memo, which means internal for the Pentagon, but here it is, Pentagon leadership has urged military personnel not to take mail-in DNA tests, warning that they create security risks, are unreliable, and could negatively affect service members' careers. Why? Why would a DNA test negatively affect their careers? But if you look at the date that this was released, do you see it? December 24th, what? 2019. Excuse me, hold up, please. Didn't... I want to know the day it started. So since they're in charge of this, let's see what day they refer to. 2019-N, capital C, O, capital V. Aren't those elements? Wuhan, da-da-da. Give me a date. I'm looking for a date. December 2019. Okay, so we see it, December 2019. And when were they told not to take these tests? What? December 2019. Why? Because they can use that to create something tailor-made for specific individuals. And think about that. If you want to take over a place, or if you want to change a society, their whole way of life, you want the young people. You want them, the ones who you raised up, basically, in the system, in the state. Think about it. If they were encouraging the children this whole time to pull away from their parents, to, that their parents don't love them and their parents are the enemy, because the state wants people that are order takers. And they know that family and faith, or religion, whatever you want to call it, are the two competing forces against the government. They want to be your God. They don't want you referring to any other moral code or standard. They just want a generation of order takers, right? And it looks like, if you look at history, it looks like something similar might have happened 100 years ago. We have to ask ourselves why. But all of these events that I've just went over are linked. They're all connected. They're all the same thing. They all end with the same result. Carbon reduction. I hope the people that watch my channel, most of them are very smart, so you should understand by now that carbon reduction is basically population reduction, because we are made of carbon. Man is, and that's where you get one of the sixes, man is part carbon. So for them to say that they need to cut carbon here, there, and everywhere and get down to, is it like, that's never going to happen. As long as you have material beings, that will not happen. Every agenda we are seeing right now play out in politics and religion and the media, it is all anti-human. And the goal is to separate the families, have a generation of people that you can easily control. But what do you do with the older generation, the ones that won't be easily re-educated? What do you do with them? Well, you don't really want to have a war, do you? Because if you have war and you're bombing places, you're ruining all their resources. America is abundant and bountiful. We have a lot of natural resources here that, I don't know, I mean, if I think of this, I would imagine someone, a war leader or military leader, would think of it. But, geez, Sam, I'm sorry he's snoring so loud. So these are things to think about, right? I don't know if I was in that position. It's a no-brainer. Something like this would be quiet. They would probably consider it humane. So we really got to think about where these things are headed. And a lot of children, I'm going to show you a couple channels. Watch the community tab because I'll share a couple of them. A lot of children, of adult children, even children in their 20s, late teens, are being told by counselors to go no contact with their parents. Every big YouTuber right now is pushing that, what is it called? Help Care or something. It is basically a shrink app. You have a psychologist that you can text with or whatever. BetterHelp, that's what it's called. All the big YouTubers are pushing that. All the YouTubers in the quote-unquote club. Ask yourself why. These are things we should avoid. If they're being pushed, it is with an agenda. And the agenda is never something that's good for humanity. I mean, it's just not. But we are easily led, and we allow ourselves to be slowly painted into corners by making compromises in our daily lives. Much like they wanted me to compromise and sign off on something. I wasn't signing off on something saying, yeah, I'm aware my drawer was short. I didn't even know that. As far as I knew, it could have been a mistake with the machine, because I'm definitely not mechanically inclined. It takes me a few times of working with something new to grasp it. And I don't mean the tech part. I just mean physically, because I'm kind of klutzy, and you know, I know that I have that issue. But we get down to compromise. They want you to compromise slowly. And by the time it's done, you look at yourself and you don't even recognize yourself anymore, because you've compromised on everything just so you could keep the job that pays for the car to get to the job, to pay for the house that you're never at because you're always at the job paying for the house and the car. It doesn't make sense. None of this here makes sense. And I honestly don't know why we're still on this merry-go-round. Some people love it, I guess. I love my family. I'm not going to debate that. I love nature. I love, being in nature. I don't have a problem with that. I love this place. What I don't love is these anti-human agendas and the family agendas, even some religious YouTubers, the bigger ones, tell people, you know, you need to go no contact with your family. So many people in the Bible were born into families that were pagan, and they were like the only convert. We've seen that over and over and over again. And that one convert ends up converting everyone around them. So God is still working, but we need to be aware of how all these events link together. Okay. So you have all of these eclipses, right? You have CERN being turned off and on. You have bacteria being released into the atmosphere. And then a year later, almost exactly, you have this new V pop up in China, right? With all these strange symbols, like the bat, that was definitely not meant to be taken literally. That was some type of symbol to somebody. And we saw the tags on the people in New York City that they bust in real quietly, and their badges said Operation Gotham. So, you know, everybody's playing a role, but how deep does it go? Are we really living in like Truman-esque dark city? What's the other one where the guys like interfere with these two people who meet and fall in love? Oh, I forget what it's called. It just got put on Tubi. I can't remember it. Anyways, is our world kind of more of a stage than we ever even realized? I don't know, but things are getting very strange now. I'm going to end this video here. What we're going to do next is we're going to branch off again. We're going to define the types of hypnotism, because that plays into, I believe, with these quote unquote alien abductions that they want us to believe we're having. Do I think aliens would be cool? Yeah, but I think if there really were reptilians here who could who were smarter than us, wiser than us, and had better tech than us, I think they wouldn't hide then. They would just rule over us openly. If they are here and they're hiding, maybe they're vegetarians. I don't know. But I know that things have gotten very strange, and I'm willing to talk about that. And I hope you are too. And I hope you guys share your personal experiences. We've been on this journey, me and the original channel, since 2017 when all of this started. And it's been quite a wild ride. And it's been a really hard month with having to make that decision to give up that job, my dog dying. And today, Friday the 13th, somebody hit my bank account for $250, AT&T, and I don't have AT&T. But there went my grocery money for the rest of the next 2 weeks, because my account is now negative. So there are definitely spiritual things manifesting in the material. But Friday the 13th is always weird for me. Now, if you want to see the eclipse tomorrow, it is tomorrow morning in Texas, in that time zone. I think they said it's about 10 o'clock. So you'll want to look about 9 o'clock. I am going to release a shorter video called We've Been Here Before, or They've Done This Before. I found some really interesting information, and again, I just fell into it quite on accident. It's going to be a short video, so watch for that later today. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a rough few months. I will put the PayPal link if anybody wants to help with that. I had to shut down my bank account, my debit card, and they're doing an investigation into fraud, so I can't, even if there was anything left in there, I can't touch it. But as always, you know, gifts of love are accepted and appreciated, but not mandatory. I will keep doing the research if you guys keep coming to listen. And remember to do something kind for somebody today. Remember to be aware, keep your eyes open, be observant of those around you. Because sometimes these people who know not what they do can be dangerous. And there's a lot of dangerous rhetoric and propaganda flying around, even on YouTube. I'm disappointed to say that a few bigger influencers are acting as instigators. So don't allow yourself to be baited. And just try and love on the people that you're close to. All right, guys, I'm gonna try and get some sleep. I love you, and we'll talk soon. Bye.